That shouldn't be happening. Do I need to refresh the page? My dev server isn't running. Oh my God. Hello everyone, welcome to another devlog. And in this video, we're going to be looking a little bit more. Well, wait, before we get on to that, in the last video, we did some stuff on GitHub. We shared the code there, as well as went through some of the very basics about. In this video, we're going to continue looking at our code and how we can create a box that when you type in code and then you press the play button, it creates an output of the code on the other side. So let's get into it. So something that I didn't realize from the last video is that I didn't actually need to log anything to the console. I could just put in a string hello and then it would return that. Or I could do something like const thing equals hi, and then I could do thing, and then there you go, hi, because the last line just gets returned. It would be nice to log something to the console in our input window, and then when we press run, it displays the output of the console in the output window. I'm going to look to see if there's any resources out there for how to hook the console log statement. From what I can understand in my research is that in Chrome, we can't hook the standard out the same way that we can in Node.js. So this top-rated answer seems to have something that makes sense to me. So I'm going to just copy that. I just realized that what this does isn't hooking the output of the console log statement. It's just hooking the arguments. So even though we can intercept what is being logged, we can't intercept the formatted log. We can only intercept the arguments. If we look at MDN's site, we can see that we have a similar thing to what I'm trying to design, but when we run, it appears similar to what we have in the console. And if I go inside the inspector here, I can see that it does indeed output almost the exact same thing. Although this is not necessarily a particularly complicated statement to log. If we're, for example, trying to log something like an error, let's see how it handles that. So I've made a console.warn statement and it is passed a new error. Let's see what happens when I run. Interesting. So it doesn't hook the warn. It only hooks log. How about let's change this to log. So you can see that there are slight differences between the error that is logged in the console and the error that is logged to here. So that is telling me that there might be some sort of formatting that is happening. I just realized that it shows that MDN actually uses eval in order to parse this code and then run it. Let's take a look at what that looks like. Pretty print. Okay, no, it's using a new function and it's passing the string in to the new function argument and then immediately running that function. I believe this is the safer way of doing it, or it's the faster way of doing it. I can't remember exactly. All right, after it runs the function, it catches any errors. Now I'm wondering how they are getting the output of this function. Because we have these console log statements here, so I'm wondering where they're getting that. I'm wondering if they're doing it the same way that it's done here. So let's look for a bind. Nothing. Interesting. How about console log? Oh, interesting. It seems like they've intercepted console log and console warn. This is a terrible color scheme. Yeah, that's exactly how they do it. They assign a variable to the original console log, and then they overwrite the console log with another function. And then they iterate through each of the arguments, and then format the output for each argument, and then push it to some variable called t. And then after all that is done, write to a variable a, and use t.join, and then do a write output. Okay, I think I see what they're doing. I'm wondering if MDN has their code public. You go to their GitHub page. out of curiosity, I'm wondering what mdn.dev is using. They're using Webpack with some Babel, ESLint, Jest, React, pretty standard stuff. Okay. I'm wondering if they have something called editor. Nope. What about just editor? Is there anything at the top of the file that would indicate where this comes from? No. I might have found something. Oh my goodness, I have found the needle in the haystack. I don't know, maybe it's obvious to other people where this thing comes from, but I found it. So this is the builder of bits, aka the MDN Web Docs Interactive Examples and Example Builder. This is exactly what I wanted. Oh, yes. Can I actually just use this? What's the license? License, MIT license. I could just grab this. Editor.js. Let's see what this is made of. Let's look for that console.log statement that was so evasive. This is what I wanted to see. So we have console.log, we have the formatted list. This is exactly it. This is exactly what I was looking for. Right there. We're right here. Where are we? Here. Are we? Hold on. There. This is the place where we were originally looking at. And now we can go back to, hope I can close a bunch of these places because I don't need it. All right, so this is that thing that we were looking at. We have console utils, console log, console error. We write and output somehow, and then we apply arguments to the original console. All right, let's find out what this console utils does. How long is this? Not bad, 143 lines. Okay, we have write output, query selector, console code, output content, text content. It puts this. What is this output text content? Document, query selector, console code. Okay, no, I was looking at the wrong function. I was looking at write output, which is obvious, but format output is what I actually really want to know about. All right, so it casts things to string if it satisfies those criteria. If it's a number, a lot of work has gone into this. I'm very tempted to just take this. Is it on NPM? One package found. MDN Bob. All right, so I could just download this as a dependency and then see what happens. What I'm interested in is, does this thing also include the styling? Because I'm not that interested in styling. I'm only interested in the console part. I want to do the styling myself using Material UI. npm install mdn-bob, builder of bits. So that's exciting. It looks like the thing that I was trying to do this whole time has actually been done already by MDN, and their license is an MIT license. And looking at all the code there, I can understand all the code that is in the repository. So I think I should just use it, because I'm going to pretty much build the same thing, and I don't think I could do much better. Maybe as I'm working on it, I can come up with some ideas, but hey, if I have come up with something that is better than what they've produced, why keep it to myself? I should actually go and update their repository, make a pull request. All right, so I've installed the MDN Bob package. I really think that there's gotta be a better way of doing this. Let's take a look at how Node.js does it. Node.js has a util called inspect. What this does is exactly what the browser does with console.log statements, except this is in Node.js. It actually has a lot more options for us to take advantage of. I wonder if somebody has ported the util inspect into the browser. Well, there's something called object inspect. Seems like it's the right tool for the job. All right, so we're gonna revert our changes to the package, getting rid of MDN Bob. Bye, Bob. Now let's try object inspect. Well, sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes you have a good feeling about how something should work and it just doesn't work that way. Or something just doesn't feel right about the way that you've planned to do something. So when you get that feeling, you should reassess and say, okay, maybe we should let go of this feature or this library in favor of something else. And that's exactly what happened here. I had my hopes up for using MDN's Bob thing, but it turns out that a little bit more complicated than I wanted. I just wanted a little piece of it, a little sliver of Bob, just a little sliver of Bob. So I decided to let that one go. We're going to try to go with something that's more dedicated to the feature that I want, which is just, I'm given a thing, I want to convert that thing to a string. And that's pretty much it. And I'm actually not so attached to it looking exactly the same as it does in the browser's console. If it's something I find out about later, as long as I've abstracted or extracted things out enough, it should just be a drop and replace. So we'll see how things go. Okay, so we've come back here. We're gonna grab this code right here, and we're just gonna change this to const. I don't want to change the global console too much. Const original console log. Actually, this might be a good time to copy what MDN Bob did. So this format array, format object, format output, these are things that we're going to hopefully rely on. But what we're interested in is comparing MDN's approach to Stack Overflow's answer. And that seems to be what they did. They did put it inside a function. This should work regardless if we're doing server-side rendering or if we're doing it in the browser, because it's still applying changes to the console. I'm not calling window.console.log. That would definitely error if I was doing server-side rendering. But I don't know. We'll see. You have to get stuff running first, and then we run into errors, and then we see if we need to make changes. But I think this makes sense to me so far. All right, we're gonna copy that line. We're gonna copy the console error line. And you know what? I'm just gonna copy. I'm gonna copy all of this. There we go. And just remove that there. We can make the comparison really soon. The way that I want to approach formatting is going to be a little bit different. So we'll cover that in a second. I just want to go through this line by line and just make sure I know what I'm doing. So these two console error and console log functions need to be inside of our React component, because when they are called, we would like to make changes to our component. This is our set result. And for errors, we're maybe going to have something like set error. We'll use that a little later. So I'll make a note here really quick just to remind myself to do it so I don't forget. So we want to write to our error state. And instead of console utils format output and console utils write output, we're going to do the same thing for the write output, which is write to our result state. The next thing that we need to correct is we want this format output to use, so import object. So we want to import object inspect and use it here. Oh, and apparently I need to save the types for object inspect. That was fast. All right. So just going over these lines again. So we have arguments.length for I is less than L, and then we want to increment I. Actually, we are outputting this array. So instead of a for each, how about a reduce? So let me just rewrite this function below. Something I don't like about these arguments though, it's a little bit detached from reality. I know what this means, which is the arguments it's a reference to these arguments that go inside the function. However, I'm wondering if I can just use ... args, because then it's more clear. You know exactly where this thing came from. Let me just verify that this is true and there's not some sort of special powers that arguments have. Note, if you're writing ES6 compatible code, then rest parameters should be preferred. Perfect. That's exactly what I was thinking. All right, cool. Let's say we have result, and then we have args, and then we reduce those args, and then we have some reducer that will reduce those args, and we start with an empty array, and we will add to that array as we iterate through our reducer. First parameter is the accumulator. So let's call that formatted list, being inspired by the function from an MDN. And then we have our argument. And then we have our actual thing that is going to format that argument. But that will always just return this. We don't want that. We actually want to add it to our formatted list. There There you go. That should do it. All right. So we're returning our array with the rest of our formatted list and then our object inspect. Looking back at our MDN Bob code, we have output, which is the joined formatted list, and then we write the output. So we can just change that join to this. I think it's fine. This function actually doesn't even need to be in this here. So I'll just remove this and put it up here. And the args are literally just any, or is it unknown? Let's start with unknown. All right, so we have our result. Ooh, and I've deleted a line. What was that line again? Ah, yes. Okay, no, I didn't delete it. I just didn't copy it over. Okay, so we want to take the original console logger and do the same thing that the MDN has done, which is apply and the arguments. Actually, this isn't an array. It would be args. Oh, I mean, it is an array. We could do call instead of apply, which actually makes more sense to me. There we go. Why is this complaining? All right, it's saying everything is unknown. Fine, 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 any. Everyone says not to use any, and I agree with them. In this case, it actually is anything. Formatted list would be an array of any. And then arg would be any. What can we do? We really are taking almost any argument you can imagine and just throwing it into this object inspect. If there were any restrictions on our input types, that would be it. All right, so now that we've redefined this function, this other function is no longer necessary. Let's do the same thing here. Why does this thing have an argument? There's something else going on here which I don't exactly understand. I don't see how this is any different than using console.log, so I'm gonna do the same thing here. Args. Hold on. What if in MDN, what happens if I throw an error? Okay, I think this is because it's in a try-catch block. That's why this is okay. So that means this console error is only really doing things if we're actually using console.error, which I'm wondering if this works. I thought it didn't work. It doesn't work. Okay, I don't understand what's going on there. All right, I'm gonna leave it as is. I don't know why they've chosen to do it that way. I'm gonna do it a different way. I'm going to go with args any again, and then just pass this on. Oh, no, I actually do want this. We'll do call again. Call. All right, so our functions look very, very simple. This line is a little messy because it's not clear what does this do. If you didn't see anything else in this entire project and you just saw this group of lines, would you be able to tell what this does? I think the answer is clearly no. And you could put a comment there saying, this is what it does, but I always prefer to have expressive function names or expressive variable names instead of using comments, because it's you have the room, it's going to get compiled down to nothing. It doesn't matter what the length is within reason. So it's always nice to just give it a good name. So let's name this function format args. And let's do the same thing. Args is going to be an array of any, but not ... We'll just do args. And then we'll take this thing here, throw it there. So now what we can do is say formatted. Oh wait, I'm about to name. Yeah, formatted args. Sure. Format args. Args. This is a pirate's favorite function. So many args. Let's just move this into our React component before I forget that this needs to actually do something with the formatted arguments. Another thing that I just remembered to do is I want to use MDN's method, which is using functions. So what this does is it creates a new function based on the code, which is a string, and then executes that function. Apparently this is better than eval. Let's just move things inside of our React function and see what happens. So now what we want to do is we want to set our result to our formatted arguments and do the same thing for our errors. Oh, wait, I've forgotten to format the arguments. Well, let's do that again. Let's change this to something that makes a little bit more sense. Formatted log, formatted error. There you go. I need to run this through once in my head before I can actually see if this would work. So first off, we're not even setting the result anymore because there won't be a result. So let's just confirm that this is actually the way that I want it to run. So let's do const thing equals what's up. Okay, you get nothing. Thing. What's up? What? That shouldn't be happening. Do I need to refresh the page? Ah, my dev server isn't running. Oh my God. It really helps to have your dev server running when you actually want to do development work. I think that's enough for this video. Hopefully it's not too long. I've been trying to see if there's a way that I can keep these videos more on the shorter side, put more effort into the editing process so that they can be shorter. However, we'll see what happens. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. In the next video, we will continue this and we will see exactly how I implemented this new function. This video has been mostly about research, about exploration, not so much about code, which is going to happen as in the life of a developer. That's a lot of Googling, a lot of research, a lot of looking at other people's code, how have they done it. And no matter what, I always learn. Every single time, I always learn something new. Anyways, see you guys.